Hi everyone, I'm Robert Eibach here on Refining Purpose TV. I'm here with James Conlon, who's a deputy for Councilman Blumenfield. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you.
Now, James, you work for the councilman of one of the councilmen of Los Angeles. Can you tell me what is a councilman?
Of course. What is a councilman? So, being an elected representative means that every voter, every constituent is your boss. And when you represent Los Angeles, there are actually 15 different council members, each representing a different portion of this city. Mm-hmm. So believe it or not, a lot of people don't think all the way out in the West Valley is still Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. But there are 200,000 people here who are constituents to this city, and my boss represents him.
Oh, wow. Wow. And now how does the council member work with the mayor's office in a sense?
So similar to the federal level, the mayor's office works at the executive branch. So he runs all of the departments. He often meets with the public. He's kind of the outward face of the executive side. So making sure that everything is running up to code and being enforced right. And then my boss and the other 14 council members, they're on the legislative side. Mm-hmm. So they're coming up with the policies and the initiatives and programs, but also they're sending out people into the field on a daily basis to see how they can help the community.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's really interesting. Now, you as a deputy, I know we were talking beforehand that you do a lot of the communications and also you help write speeches and help with the policies that the council member brings forward to the other council members. What can you tell me what a day-to-day sort of thing is for you?
Sure. So often I'm working on the newsletters, which we send out every 2 weeks. We do that to make sure the content stays fresh, and we're reaching thousands of readers every time we send it out. Other days I may be working on videos to raise awareness about certain issues, like what we're doing about homelessness or social issues in the community. Mm-hmm. And then other days I may be working on legislation. So I may be researching ways we can implement a policy or which other offices we can partner with to promote something.
Oh, that's interesting. You were involved with the federal government in the UK and also the state government in Massachusetts. Explain to us what the differences between foreign and our government over here.
Sure. So it was a really great opportunity to go to the UK and see what's going on across the pond. Mm-hmm. I worked in very similar political environments. It was usually pretty left-leaning. Mm-hmm. So I would say the biggest differences were how politically partisan and divided each level of government was. Mm-hmm. Over there, it was very cutthroat. It was us versus them.
Oh, wow.
They even had in the chamber floor a line in the middle of the carpet that you can't cross because there used to be people drawing swords against each other.
Oh my gosh.
that was kind of history over there. And that's where our nation, got a lot of its traditions from. And we're very political too at the federal level. So I would say as you go further and further down from state to city, it definitely gets a lot less party affiliated. Mm-hmm. In the city, we have 15 council members. 14 of them are Democrats. Mm-hmm. So by and large, they're mostly on the same page.
Right.
They're going to have some differences here and there about certain things that they've done their whole life and how they see the world. But for the most part, I would say things here are a little bit more kumbaya. You can generally, knock on different council members' doors and have similar conversations, similar points of view.
So it's very interesting what you're saying, because I think that's what the beauty of what the founding fathers thought about our country is that they gave a lot of power to the local government so that we can essentially, each community being so different that they can govern themselves within the needs of that community. And what in Los Angeles specifically, what are you seeing as the mission of the council member right now as to what he's seeing are issues and things that should get better or change and that sort of thing?
Sure. So the number one thing is definitely addressing homelessness. Mm-hmm. You see it on our streets. You see it on sidewalks. You see people living out of their cars, tents. It's really awful. So we are doing everything we can to address it, there's a lot of pushback from the courts and the state level that is slowing down what we can do.
Oh, really?
But one of the great things we've done recently is converted our parking lot in the back of our district office into what we call Safe Parking LA. Because for a lot of people, addressing homelessness is about making sure people don't end up on the streets. A lot of folks who've been evicted or are victims from domestic abuse, they're living in their cars. They have nowhere to go, and they're on sidewalks. Ultimately, what happens is they don't feel safe to sleep at night, whether people are tapping on their windows or whatever have you. They need somewhere safe to be.
Right.
So one thing that we're doing and encouraging different faith institutions to do as well is to convert their parking lots into safe parking, because what it does is it gives them a safe and secure place to sleep at night, so then they can bounce back and find a job and find ultimately an apartment. We know, if we couldn't function if we didn't have a decent night's sleep.
Right.
And if you do that for weeks, months, years, maybe, it's absolutely awful. It's completely unjust. So that's one thing among the many other things we're doing. Another thing the council member is working on is building bridge housing right in Canoga Park. It's going to be the first permanent bridge housing in the entire city of LA.
Oh, wow.
So what that means is most bridge housing sites, which are places for homeless people to sleep at and get in-care help that they need, this one will be standing for at least 15 years. Other ones were built for only 3 or 4 years, but this one is going to be a permanent one that hopefully is going to house around 75 people and be a major help to the community. Wow,
that's amazing. That's stuff that you don't even hear about every day in the newspaper and different things like that. So that's really good. I like that a lot. Now, dealing with homelessness, are you seeing different issues like why people are homeless, and are you seeing housing prices are a big issue, or mental illness or addiction and different things like that? What are you seeing as being something that's kind of causing the issue from that standpoint?
There are a lot of issues going on right now. Definitely the lack of affordable housing in Los Angeles. Homelessness is primarily a housing issue. A lot of people think that homeless folks are transients coming from out of town who are taking your communities and making your children not feel safe. Folks like that are definitely in the minority. Most homeless people were your neighbors or your friends of friends who fell on hard times.
Right.
So a lot of people no longer have access to affordable housing. Big developers are buying out areas and evicting en masse. That's been a constant issue, and we're always trying to work with the state to pass progressive legislation that protects people's right not to be evicted, along with having the right mental health and substance abuse treatments in our community. That's why we fight so hard to have those accessible. Right now, we've been working with Providence Tarzana in the West Valley to create an emergency triage program. It's a first pilot program. And what it does is people who are at rock bottom, they will be able to get into the emergency room and get temporary housing and get the help they need, whether it's a mental illness or substance abuse or both. That's something that we're doing to help people at rock bottom.
Oh, wow. See, that's really amazing, because I often wonder that, for the minority that does have issues with addiction or mental illness or different things like that, how do they get off the streets? Because a lot of times if there's a lot of problems going on, how do they know? And that is a really good program. I think that's good. I like that.
I like it too.
Congratulations on you guys coming up with it.
We hope it keeps growing. It's already shown really positive results. People are getting off the street because of that program. And it's really a partnership between Councilmember Blumenfield and Providence Tarzana. And we're just hoping that more folks can see that and can say, how can I create programs too?
Is there a way that the community can get involved with what you're doing?
Absolutely. So we actually have been running programs called Homeless Connect Days throughout the county of Los Angeles. And within our part of the city, we have them and host them several times a year. What they really are is ways to help homeless people get connected with the services they need. rather than sending them to a social security office or somewhere else, it brings all of the service operators to one hub once a month.
Oh, wow.
So they can get free haircuts, they can get help with criminal records and finding their court dates. They can help finding their photo IDs and getting them renewed, maybe. Everything that you would need if you don't have a home in one location.
Wow, that's amazing. And where can our viewers find out how to participate in that event?
Well, we regularly post about them in our newsletters and our website and social media, so just stay tuned.
Perfect.